There is a race that doesn't just break cars, it breaks spirits. For decades, the 24 Hours of Le Mans was a private French garden party, and the guests of honor were always Italian. They were scarlet sculptures from Maranello, from a company called Ferrari, and they always won. And then, a Texan with a drawl and a vendetta decided he'd had enough. His name was Carroll Shelby, and he had a simple, brutal, almost ridiculous idea. He would take a raw American engine, a hulking cast-iron brute from Detroit, and he would stuff it into a live British roadster, the AC Ace. They called the result the Cobra, and it was loud, and it was crude, and it was devastatingly, wonderfully fast. But it wasn't enough, not for Le Mans. Ferrari was still a ghost in the machine, a specter of perfection that haunted Shelby's every waking moment. So he turned to the only company in America that understood his obsession with speed, a company that had already staked its soul on the promise of going faster than anyone else. He went to Ford, and together they decided to build a weapon, not a car, a weapon. They started with a concept so audacious it bordered on madness, a chassis so lightweight you could almost lift it with one hand. And then, the heart, a monstrous V8, not the delicate, high-strung symphony of a Ferrari, but a thunderclap from the Ohio factories of car craft. An engine that didn't just produce power, it declared war on the very air around it. They clothed this mechanical rebellion in a shape born not in a wind tunnel of elegance, but in a hurricane of necessity. A shape that was all function, a long, low silhouette that seemed to slice the light in two. They called it the GT40, Grand Touring, 40 inches from the ground to the roof. It was a statement of intent, a promise. But the promise was almost broken before it was kept. The first year at Le Mans was a catastrophe. The cars pushed beyond their limits, shattered. They retired one by one, leaving the track once again to the triumphant red cars. The laughter from Maranello was almost audible, but Shelby and his team, they didn't know how to quit. They went back to the garage. They looked at the broken parts, the shattered dreams, and they forged them into something stronger. They refined the aerodynamics, they massaged the engine, they hardened every component until the car was no longer just a machine. It was an obsession made manifest. And in 1966, they returned to the Circuit de la Sarthe. The Ferraris were there, beautiful and confident. The GT40s lined up, their engines rumbling with a low, menacing idle that was a different language entirely. The race began, and for 24 hours, it was a mechanical ballet of violence and endurance. The Ferraris pushed, they challenged, they danced on the edge, until, one by one, their delicate precision succumbed to the relentless, brutal force of the American machines. And as the sun rose on a new day, something happened that had never happened before. The first car across the line was a Ford GT40. The second car was a Ford GT40. And the third was a Ford GT40. A perfect, devastating sweep. The silence from Maranello was finally absolute. The garden party was over. The ghost had been exorcised. And in its place, on the highest step of the podium, stood a new sound, the deep, rumbling, untamed echo of American thunder.